We're going to continue our recording with the attitude strength in the second lesson, vodcast 1C. In the previous lesson we discussed that some of the most important factors affecting the link between attitude and behavior is the social situation, the social context. This attitude has to be expressed as behavior, and as well the strength. And discussing the strength, we quickly discussed issues like the direct or indirect exposure, and we have set as homework the Regan and Fuzzy research. Now, we're going to discuss this lesson, the attitude accessibility. And I want you to remember, as we said, accessibility is how easily quickly we bring it to our mind, and of course because it has to be recalled as memory very quickly, this specific attitude is influenced by the strength of the attitude. If it is strong, it's likely to be remembered more easily, and therefore it's retrieved more accessible. I want you to understand that this situation is related with the classical conditioning, is becoming almost a reflex where it comes automatically to our mind, subconsciously. And all this is happening because there is a lot of emotional weighting, and usually because it's a result of a direct exposure. So remember that Aronson, in his research in 1995, proved that when we are able to retrieve the attitude immediately, that means when the attitude accessibility is very high, this is because there is a lot of emotional weighting and because the person has been directly exposed to this attitude. This attitude, it's more easily to predict specific behaviors because it is consistent and predictable that this specific attitude will bring up a specific behavior. So because I have a negative, very negative attitude towards spiders, when I see a spider I will jump up. When I see a rat I will go onto my bed. Because I'm very racist or sexist, when I'm dealing with male students I can be negative. Because I'm racist, I will have a racial discrimination, and so on. And I may hide it as an attitude in my social context, but it is expected that it comes naturally to me. I have like feeling, which I have to cover if I'm trained enough. In Greece we claim that we are not very much, and I'm sorry I'm using always Greeks, but I'm using because this way I'm exposing myself and not the others to this situation, and I need to answer, and I will sorry about this. So we continue discussing that with the attitude accessibility, it comes quickly to mind, and the most important is it has to be it is consistent, predictable, because it is the same action all the time. Therefore, people can manipulate other people if they know that they have the specific predictability. And I want you to understand that this is how the people who are dealing with advertisements, they try to make an emotional connection between an ad, for example, and the feeling they want to create to people, so they can create a specific attitude. This is why Marlboro was advertising cigarette as a kind of masculine characteristic, and this is why now, when we advertise in a reverse way the danger of the cigarettes, we saw pictures of emotionally heavy, loaded people who are suffering from cancer. And all this manipulation, predictability, and consistent response is happening because attitude accessibility is related to classical conditioning. I want you to remember that classical conditioning is something we're going to discuss later in learning, and it is the situation that has happened to you and your mind in that split 0.5 of a second where you first imprinted something in your memory, and that is making you being scared of the heights, or scared of the airplanes, scared of spiders, or drooling when you hear the word chocolate or ice cream. To try and see this attitude towards a specific thought, because the word is bringing a thought in our brain, that's what I want you to remember. I would like you to play and think, what is the first thought that crosses your mind when you hear the word I'm thinking the word? Tell me what crosses your mind when you're thinking the word Miley Cyrus. Okay? I bet that the first thought that comes to your mind is that sex scene of her coming like a ball or something else, all these songs that she was singing last year, and not the innocent child she was pretending to be in the past. Because this is the connection you have made recently in your mind when you're talking about Miley Cyrus, and this is the first thing that comes up in your mind. It's not the Hannah Montana sweet girl. Okay. The next one we're going to discuss is attitude specificity. Attitude specificity, as the word says, refers to the idea that the attitude can be related to specific aspect of a concept. So we're talking about how strong, how important is an attitude, and I want you to remember that when the attitude becomes specific to an in-depth to a deep meaning of a word, or in-depth of progress from the general expression of love music, then we're talking about specificity on attitude. For example, here, when you say that I love music, it's general. You have to tell me what kind of music you love, because I bet I can give you a kind of music that you really hate. So you cannot have an attitude specificity when you say you like music. But when you go deeper, when you say I love music, I love pop music, and from pop music I love this kind of singer, then your attitude is specific towards the singer. You have a very strong like or dislike. I would like you to answer to me this question. Do you think that when the attitude is generic on an idea, not to a specific idea, is it predictable and consistent, the behavior that elicits from this attitude? For example, I have a healthy and positive attitude towards healthy lifestyle. However, I do not exercise. Why? I like the broad idea of healthy lifestyle. I'm not smoking, I'm not drinking, I don't do drugs. I eat healthy. However, the other component, the exercise, is not mine. Why? I told you. Because I'm suffering, my bones are suffering, I'm too heavy, I'm tired when I'm exercising. So because I'm not specifically saying or have connected that the healthy lifestyle in my mind is linked to exercise, that's why my attitude is not specific towards exercise. So I have to go deeper. I have to go and say, I do not exercise because I don't like jogging. I have a very negative attitude towards jogging. So, if you persuade me that I can exercise in another way, as I said in the previous example, I can go exercising. I want you to remember what happens in the politics. For example, you can say that you like Labour, but you're not very hot on that. You don't love Labour, but you hate all the other political parties. So what are you going to vote? What's your attitude? And what's your predictable behavior? The attitude now is focusing on the Labour, because there is nothing else that represents you. Or I don't like Labour because they have done such and such and such a thing. I cannot vote family first, so I'm going to vote for Greens. You see how predictable is that? How can that be manipulated if Greens take some parts of the Labour ideas? The same with the sports. So I'm okay with sports sometimes, but don't tell me about soccer. Still running, jogging, it's too much. I hate it. I can play volley. I can play ping pong. Okay, do you understand that? I hope you do. Let's say another example. I love music, rock music, but I don't like In Excess. I don't like Elvis Presley. I don't like Bruce Springsteen. I love Queen. Okay? So if we have to be specific, my attitude specificity goes towards the Queen, Freddie Mercury, not the Queen after Mercury. So the attitude is more likely to affect the behavior if the attitude is specific. Okay? A specific part, not general. Now, the next one we're going to discuss also is ambivalence. And ambivalence is a neutral attitude that can fluctuate between positive or negative response to the same thing. So really, the person may have mixed feelings, or you may have mixed feelings about a person, object, and an issue. So if you have mixed feelings, sometimes you can be their friend, sometimes you can be their enemy. Okay, you're not always supporting them. So if a person has an ambivalent attitude, we don't know what they're going to vote. Imagine the politics we discussed before. 40% is Labour, 40% is Liberal, 10% are Greens, but there's another 10% that they go all around the place. Yeah? They can actually, because they're ambivalent, they don't have special clear attitude. And because they're swinging, they can change the government. They are true controllers. That's what the independents are targeting. For example, if I ask you also an idea, now I asked you a specific question. You're against war, and I'm asking you, should Australia involved in a war? For example, things are happening in Ukraine. Would Australia go involved in a war in Ukraine or in Afghanistan? Would you have a specific idea on this? Do you know where Ukraine is to begin with? Would you be very hot on this? No. So this is exactly the same thing, because you don't have any idea, any clue why is the specific reason we have to go to Afghanistan, or why we have to get involved in Ukraine. Well, you really are not positive or negative. Let's discuss something else. Abortion. What's happening in abortion? Do you have an attitude towards abortion? Okay, what do you think? We will discuss that in the class. So, usually, the situation of abortion is polarized. Some people have a very negative attitude towards abortion. Some others have a very positive attitude towards abortion. It's a woman's right to do whatever they want. But those who are in the middle, they're ambivalent. They say, okay, the cases and cases. Sometimes, in case of a rape, probably it's a good idea. Sometimes it's not. So it is depending on the pregnancy situation. These people will never protest outside of a clinic against abortion. The others will be very, very much into fighting for this. On this attitude and impact on attitude, I want you to remember that there are too many researches. The most important, though, is the one that it's in your book, the Lapierre's trip throughout states. And let's see what is this trip. He took the trip with a Chinese couple, and this time everybody was against Chinese. It was very prejudice and hatred against Chinese was very strong. During the trip, they stopped in restaurants and hotels. Lapierre recorded how the owners behaved when they had to serve the Chinese couple. He recorded restaurant 1 negatively, restaurant 2 positively. So in all these restaurants, only once they said, sorry, you're Chinese, I'm not serving you. All the time, because they were with Pierre or whatever, they were treated quite courteously, most places, not laughed at, nothing. The owner's behavior seemed like having a positive attitude toward these Chinese people. Pierre returned and wrote to the owners and asked them if they would serve a Chinese person. Without the pressure of the Chinese client being in the shop with Lapierre, 90% replied no. So what is that meaning? It's meaning that the attitude was very clear. They were negative, they were racist, they had prejudice against Chinese people. But in the social situation of the restaurant with a visitor, with another French person, they didn't dare, they didn't want, they chose not to serve them. So we have an inconsistency. We have negative attitudes and positive behaviors. Usually what we want is this. We want positive, we want positive attitude that's lead into positive behavior, or negative attitude, which is negative behavior. But here we have a negative attitude. Let me change color. We have a negative attitude with a positive behavior. We can have a negative behavior in a positive attitude. And in these cases, we have something we are going to discuss later when we discuss the theories on attitude formation. Which are these theories? In the next slide there will be a video from Khan Academy you can watch on our site that's discussing that. I don't want you to watch all of them. I want you just to watch the first two ones, the theory of the plant behavior and the self-perception theory, and leave the rest. Our subject outline also discusses cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when I'm thinking a different way from the one I'm behaving. I'm thinking in a different way than the one I'm behaving. Thinking differently from what I'm behaving. And this is creating cognitive dissonance. Self-perception is a theory that says that I see myself the way the others see in me. And these are the two major explanations. However, the theory of planned behavior is also very important. I don't want to go to the video. I will stop the video. You can click it here. You can click in here, highlight this and visit it, or you can see it in the class. But if I click here, it will start playing. I have to change that. So this is...
Alright, let's take a look at a question. I'm going to talk about 4 theories that seek to answer this question. How do our attitudes affect or influence our behavior? Now, the first of these theories that we're going to look at is called the theory of planned behavior. And the theory of planned behavior looks at 2 key words.
So you're going to watch that video. If you want to learn more, I'm going to discuss quickly what's the theory of planned behavior. I want you to understand that it has 3 components and talks about also intentions, behavior intention, not as yet behavior. So I have the attitude. I have attitude towards a behavior. So my attitude towards behavior is I'm not physically fit, but I don't want also to exercise. I'm not for physical fitness. That's my attitude. And then I am putting into there some subjective norms. Norm is what's happening normally in my social circle. So the social component comes in. My neighbors seem to be jogging and going to the gym. Why I'm not? I don't like exercise, but everybody else is exercising, and everybody else is thin, but I'm fat. That's the subjective norm. And then I need to have a perceived control on my decisions. I don't admit that I have been influenced by the behavior of my neighbors. So I'm saying, in a form of perceived control, I could easily exercise. So I'm developing slowly an intention of the specific behavior, and this intention is based on cancelling my previous attitude, on adopting, imitating what my neighbors are doing, and putting my ego into there. It's like an ego defensive mechanism, saying, I can do that, I bet I can do that. And then we put an intention. I'm starting next week. And what's happening? What do you see next week? Me jogging. This is the theory of planned behavior made by Isaac Argings. And really it is having all these components. Starts from a specific attitude, then we have the subjective norms, the idea that I have a control, nobody else is influencing me, and then I'm changing my behavior intention, I'm developing a behavior intention, and then I'm changing behavior. Let's see how we do that in an example of buying. I hate smoking, I will never smoke. But all my friends are smoking. It's not bad, it's okay. I bet I could start smoking, and I can stop it anytime I want. I will try and I will stop it. Okay, I'm going to try 1 or 2. I don't want the others to say that I'm a coward or I don't smoke. And then we start smoking. You want drink? Name it. It's the same process. Do you want driving, hunting, bullying? Name it. But also can be positive behavior. I don't like reading. All the students in the class are studying. I could easily study 1 hour a day and excel in psychology. okay, I will start studying. And then when you start thinking, putting your attention that I'm going to do that, it's not far away. And let's discuss the other component, how behavior affects attitude. I want you to remember that we change our attitudes because we adopt new behaviors. We change our attitudes because we adopt new behaviors. So what is this meaning? When we are forced to behave in a specific way, we reflect on that behavior and we say, do we like it? Is it good? I like it. And because we're feeling good and we like it, we may adjust our perception. And if we have a positive behavior, a positive feeling from the behavior, we may change into a positive attitude. For example, I don't like exercising, but if I start swimming and I keep on swimming, and I like the feeling swimming gives to me because it's cool, it's nice, and I see myself losing weight, then I will change my behavior towards exercise in general, and I will do specifically liking swimming. And this is the self-perception theory. Self-perception theory assumes that we notice our own behaviors. We judge every time, I like this, I don't like this, that's good, this works for me, and adopt attitudes derived from our observations and our likes or dislikes. And I want you to understand that this part is based on operant conditioning. When we do operant conditioning later, you will understand that when I do something that really works for me, that really is pleasant and rewarding to me, I'm repeating it. So, if I do a behavior, I'm forced to do a behavior, and I find it rewarding, I adopt it. This is how I'm training my class to like maths. They hate maths. And every time they do well, they get a chocolate. And they start liking the chocolate. The idea is that at the end, they study to get the chocolate, but at the end they will love maths. The same example is the phobias. In the beginning, let's say you're scared of birds. And then somebody's giving you a bird, to touch the bird and play with the bird. You may end up liking the birds. Another example, you stop smoking. Now you feel healthy. And you adopt an attitude towards good health. You become like a reformed smoker. Yeah? Because you feel good, because you have money on the side, because. This is how behavior has affected your attitude and you have changed. The same with the vegetables. You don't like vegetables, they're awful. You go to a health resort and then you don't have anything else to eat but veggies with some dressing. And you love it. You love the taste in your palate. What's happening? You condition yourself. It was pleasant. You feel that you lost weight because of that. And now you feel energized because of the healthy food and you're stuck on this. So I want you to remember that self-perception, we said, means that we notice our behaviors, adopt attitudes, from our observations we change. We learn about ourselves the same way others see us. Okay? When I'm doing something and I see in the eye of the others, okay, you're doing well, I see the approval, I'm changing immediately my behavior into that. I want you to imagine the scenario. There's a 5-year-old girl, puts makeup on the first time on her face, and mom laughs and says, oh, how cute is he? What do you think the girl will do after this? So I want you to understand that we often become aware of our attitudes towards something, observing our actions. You become aware, again I'm repeating, of your attitudes when you observe yourself first time and pay attention to your reactions. So I want you to pay attention to your reaction if I do something crazy in the class. Okay? And then you will see your attitude towards that. I will say the example I stopped before the phone about Greeks. That's about a good time now. Greeks claim that they're not racists. And that was my case with my friend. She was claiming she was not racist. And her daughter was in an interracial relationship with a boy from Africa. What do you think was her attitude towards that relationship? Well, unfortunately, she was racist. She discovered that she was racist. It was okay for the girls of the world, but not for her own girl. So I want you to remember that it's very important to pay attention to this, that our attitudes towards something is formed by observing our own actions. Let's go back to the girls, behavior of the girls, and link it with that attitudes. Remember we said about the girl that is putting lipstick and mom laughs. So once she becomes aware of the fact that she loves to be cute because she's wearing makeup, she is developing an attitude liking the makeup. So observing her own actions, she discovers that she wants to be that cute girl everybody wants. And so this cute girl develops a body image or image of beauty, and not an image of mind or career. Let's watch this and see what they're doing to us, boys and girls. Imagine that these are happening in a different time frame. This is the first, Snow White, and this is the Cinderella, second time frame, and this is the third, I think. I'll find the timeline. So this is 30-something, this is 50-something, and this is 59, 57, 59, and then this is around 97, 98, 99 or 81. So 81, 97, I'll find the dates, it doesn't matter. I want you to understand what's happening here. She is Snow White. She is hated by her stepmother because she's beautiful. And she is saved in the forest because she's beautiful. And the dwarves are looking after her because she's beautiful. And she's saved because she's beautiful. Okay? The man looks after her. He's really saving her even she's dead. Okay? So this is her job, to look beautiful. What about this one? She's so beautiful. She's able to escape from a bad mother, okay, and the terrible conditions, and she's marrying the wealthy man that falls for her. What about this? She's dead, but because she's beautiful, so beautiful even dead, she is getting her prince. What about her? She's a princess herself. But She's changing her body. She is letting her family away in another part of the world. She is losing her voice just to be next to the person she loves. Only to have him with her. Do you understand how demeaning is this for women? But they're developing attitudes of girls. Beauty and the Beast. The boy could be ugly. What you have inside your heart matters. But she had to be beautiful. They didn't care that she was reading books. They cared that she was beautiful. The monster wanted her because she was beautiful. And this one, she's also a princess, but she's falling for the tramp, she's falling for the thief, and she will give everything to him just to get her man. So this is not really a good attitude formation for girls. This is what the girls are saying. This is what they're seeing, what they're feeling, even today with the Duchess of Cambridge. She could be waiting Cathy all her 20s, but she ended up marrying Prince William. That's not fair. They forget that she has a master in history. That's a very clever woman. I want you to understand how all these are forming attitudes and behaviors. And the girls need to look beautiful. This is the problem sometimes when our behaviors influence our attitude and we don't agree what is happening. We are calling it cognitive dissonance. So the cognitive dissonance theory, based on Festinger's research in the 1957, the cognitive theory asserts that people often have two conflicting or inconsistent cognitions, two different thoughts, that produce a state of tension or discomfort. Things are not tuned together, that's called dissonance. And people are motivated to reduce the dissonance with the easiest method. And this is how they do that. They try to justify, they try to find an excuse. So if we go back to these girls, we can say that the girls, when they're getting married, they are getting the wedding dress, which looks like a princess's dress. Why? Because it's fashion. Not because they think that on very day they are one of these princesses. Imagine that. It's a little bit peculiar. So this cognitive dissonance, it's a very interesting theory. People prefer their attitudes to be consistent. This inconsistency is creating the problem. And the consistency among attitudes propels people towards attitude change. So, for example, I don't like smoking, but I smoke. And then I say, now I'm propelled to this direction of smoking and behaving like a smoker. And I find excuses to myself and I say, probably that's a good idea I'm smoking because I'm not eating as much. That means I tend to lie and believe my own lie. I do it and I eat more after the cigarette because my mouth is so dry and so bitter. This is what cognitive dissonance is. I hope you remember, we're going to watch the video of Festinger, but I want you to pay attention to this theory chart. Contradictory cognitions. I'm thinking a different way the way I'm acting. I have the tension, and then because I have this tension, I need to be tuned. Remember, I have to have positive attitude and positive behavior. I need to tune it. So if this is negative attitude, I'm going to have what? A negative behavior. I need to tune it. I cannot have cross grip. So this is the video from Festinger original. I would like you to watch it.
Psychological story of decision making doesn't end, however, when a decision has been made. The act of making a decision can trigger a flood of other processes. According to psychologist Leon Festinger, whenever we choose to do something that conflicts with our prior beliefs, feelings, or values, a state of cognitive dissonance is created in us. A tension between what we think and what we do. When this tension makes us uncomfortable enough, we're motivated to reduce it in a number of ways. We may change the way we think about the decision, or try to change how others think about it so that they can support our decision. Or we may change some aspect of our behavior so that our decision seems more in character with us. In other words, we try to reduce the dissonance between how we think we should act and how we actually act by changing one or the other.